Welcome to A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. The Bible tells one big story of redemption, and we want to spend 5 minutes every day journeying through the Bible from start to finish and exploring how all of it points to Jesus.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A Year in the Bible podcast with the Daily Grace Company. My name is Kyra, and I'm a writer on staff here. I'm so happy to be here with you again today. For today's reading, we are walking through Proverbs chapters 7, 8, and 9. Now again, Proverbs juxtaposes wisdom with the wayward woman. The wayward woman is the symbol for sin and death, but wisdom is the symbol for obedience and life. The wayward woman is lurking at every corner, searching for the young son who has strayed from his home. She takes hold of him. She is adulterous. She has defiled her covenant commitment and desires others to do the same. The wayward woman uses her physical appearance and flattery to seduce. In verse 22, Scripture describes how he follows her impulsively like a deer heading towards a trap. He does not know that following her will cost him his life. Proverbs 8 begins with rhetorical questions that highlight that wisdom has not been silent. She is called out to the young son, making her instruction and guidance easily perceived. She stands at the crossroads between good and evil, calling Adam's descendants to choose life. Nevertheless, the young son hears but does not listen. The instruction does not penetrate his hard heart, so he does not obey. Wisdom's speech goes on to include a defense. She describes the authority from which she speaks. Wisdom originates from God himself. Long ago, before time began, he established wisdom, and by her formed the earth. Now let us remember the literary device used here in its personification. Wisdom isn't a god or another spiritual being, but here the author gave wisdom a persona to show how true wisdom comes from the Lord. In his ultimate wisdom, God regulated the cosmos. Wisdom has divine authority and origin. She is not like the passing worldviews of culture today or of culture of any generation. Her words come from God and can be trusted. This section continues the juxtaposition between wisdom and the wayward woman, but here we compare their homes. Wisdom has a strong house filled with a feast. She has prepared a table with meat, bread, and wine, symbols of celebration. Her servants invite the reader to enter. At her table, the reader can exchange inexperience for true understanding. At her table, there is life in sustenance, while the woman of folly, the wayward woman, builds her house on sinking sand. She calls the inexperienced to enter, but she has nothing of value to give. At her table, there is the grave, and those who are her guests only taste death. Proverbs gives us these striking images of the persistent, wayward woman and the deadliness of her home to illustrate how sin acts in our lives. Sin is enticing and persistent. Spiritual evil lurks. Satan actively looks around for those he can bring to destruction. He uses the attractive and appealing things of this world to harden our hearts and move us to act on our selfish desires. We cannot follow the invitation of wisdom or come to her table for life on our own. But God brought the table of wisdom to us. In the person and saving work of Jesus Christ, God brought the bread of life and the wine of forgiveness to us. Jesus invited us to hear his call to be reconciled to God and receive true knowledge and understanding. But Jesus didn't leave us to do this on our own. You see, when we put our faith in him, he works inside us to draw us so that we cannot deny his grace. We can come to the table of God and be sure that we will partake in his feast. Let us delight and fill ourselves with Jesus' wisdom so that he will rid our tastes for counterfeit pleasures and be our ultimate sustenance. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to follow along on Instagram at Daily Grace Podcast and at The Daily Grace Co. Also, check out our website, thedailygraceco.com and dailygracepodcast.com for additional resources. For a deeper dive, we have the Story of Redemption studies available to accompany the podcast in the Daily Grace Co app. We look forward to talking with you tomorrow.